I trust we are doing well by the grace of God. Right? All right. So, we are gathered here this morning for a very noble purpose. And before I give more information about what we're going to do, I would respectfully request that we all rise to our feet and then take the opening prayer by our dear sister Gladys Tvucc. A round of applause won't be bad, please. A round of applause won't be bad, please.
Please, we are praying. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for bringing us together. It is our prayer that even as we are about to begin, may you begin and end with us. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Very brief and powerful prayer. Before anything, shall we please give ourselves a round of applause for being here this morning? It's for yourself, so please do it better. You deserve it. It's actually about the launch of the Resource Governance Campus Hub to strengthen accountability in resource governance through active citizenship. And this is put together by Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, and the Institute for Oil and Gas in the University of Competitive Choice, UCC. Please, a round of applause for these great institutions. We don't intend to take your time, and so we zoom straight into action. I am Chris Agri, and I'll be your moderator for this session. I believe that you and I are very much ready and poised to have this session. To welcome us this morning. Prof.
Thank you. Good morning. I didn't hear the good morning. Good morning. It seems we are not excited to be here. Good morning. Good. Now I can hear the good morning. So thank you so much, MC. So let me recognize our guests from the African Center for Energy Policy. And let me also recognize the deans that are here, the HODs that are also here. Let me also recognize the director for the Institute of Oil and Gas, Professor Nunu. Oh, you didn't clap. I heard people were clapping. And then also let me recognize faculty, but most importantly, you students. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, the Registrar of our great university, we welcome you to the University of Cape Coast. I know when he said University of Competitive Choice, I had a few murmuring. But still, we remain the University of Competitive Choice. On this occasion of the launch of the Resource Governance Hub, a platform aimed at empowering tertiary students with the knowledge, skills, and attitude to advocate for sustainable and inclusive utilization of Ghana's natural resources. Now, this initiative reflects a shared commitment to promote sustainability through research, advocacy, and public awareness to foster collaboration among students, policymakers, industry leaders, and civil society to engage communities, especially in resource-rich areas on their rights and responsibilities. And the University of Cape Coast is excited to be part of this agenda. I have just been informed that there are other stakeholders. I'm not so sure where they are coming from, but other stakeholders here, you are also duly recognized. Once again, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, the Registrar, and all the stakeholders in the university, we welcome you, and I'll end by saying Akwaba. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Provost for the College of Humanities and Legal Studies, Professor Daniel Ejapon. Yes, I was also whispered too that we have guests from Winneba. So, do we have our guests from Winneba? Please give us a... Oh, let's appreciate them. Wow, quite a good number. We appreciate you. Cape Coast Technical University, are you here yet? Okay, they are not. So we would recognize them as and when they join us. People, some of us wish that we could have such platforms during our student days, because some of these platforms actually catapult you into, very bright prospects. And so I was telling some students back there, they were thinking whether to join or not to join. I said, look, sometimes you don't know. These are the platforms we need to launch our career path. And so it's important that we join and receive some knowledge. So if you are here, especially as a student, we welcome you, and we promise you that you'll never regret your date. We now take the purpose for which we are gathered here, and our dear sister Rosamond Sefa would help us with that. Please, a round of applause. Rose, before you take the microphone, I would like to know, is there any special applause kind of from ASAP? None. I'm sure by the time we leave here, we would have learned one.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I can't hear you. Good morning. Okay. Welcome. I want to welcome everybody to today's event. I'm sure you'll be wondering why we are here, why we've brought you all out of your rooms and assembled you all here this morning. I even learned a lot of you have papers to write. We appreciate your time here. Can we have a round of applause for ourselves for coming? Okay, so the purpose for this gathering is simple, and it is to talk about natural resource governance. We live in a country where we actually have conversations about whether we have a resource curse, as in having the abundance of many, but still it doesn't reflect in our lives. But the point is, we have ABFA and we have MDF, ABFA from petroleum revenue and MDF from mineral revenue. And the question then is, are you even aware how these revenues are utilized in a way that is going to benefit all and not just a few of us? And that's why we are here. So we are here to teach you and to engage you on how we can together demand accountability for the Ghana that we seek to achieve. Now everybody is talking about sustainability. You are talking about the environment, you are talking about social, you are talking about economic. But then you can't achieve that sustainability you want to if you are not aware of how the resources that are even gotten from the country are utilized. We are youth. Everybody here is youth, including Kojo Yauche. He says he's a young person. Yes. But then we have phones. We are exposed to a lot of technology. How do we use them to demand the accountability that we really seek to achieve? We have to be in a country where we are aware of what is happening and we are ready and able to answer questions about how our resources are utilized. And also we are going to launch the Resource Governance Hub. Yes, the Resource Governance Hub. I won't go ahead of myself to tell you what it is. When it gets there, we are actually going to let you know what it's all about. So for now, stick and stay. And also remember that you are the future of this country. And please, I want you to be very engaged in this session. I don't want to see you on your phones. I don't want to see you chatting. I don't want to see you playing video games. You are the future of this country. And if there is anything you can gather, it is now. So let's all engage, and I hope you have a very good session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosemond. A bigger applause for Rosemond, actually. And so it's time for engagement. And I want to believe that we would all engage positively to harness whatever is in stock for us. Respectfully, shall we, with a round of applause, welcome our provost to the high table, Professor Daniel Ejapon, please. And also our director for the Institute for Oil and Gas, Professor Nunu. And my dean for Faculty of Social Science, Professor Simon Marua. I am told that Vice Dean, Professor Isiaku Adam, please join us here. Shall we have Mr. Kojo Yauche, policy lead, also at the high table, please. Yes. May I also announce that we are live on TV UCC, on YouTube and Facebook. I guess any representative from the sister universities that have visited, especially Winneba, any special representative to join us at the high table? Thank you, sir. Please, a round of applause for him. He's traveled far to join us. And for those of us who have good phones, you can just scan the code for a detailed outline. For evaluation. Okay. Thank you for pre-evaluation. Rose, would somebody take us through that before? Or we just scan it and we are good to go?
Okay, so please, you all have our phones, right? Can you wave your phone? Let me see your phone. So go to your camera. We have some on the walls. You just scan it. Yes, just from your camera. A link will pop up on your screen. It will take you to where the questions are. Yeah. Some people, I don't know. You left your phones in the house? Okay. Okay, are we there? Are you there, please? want to know if it's working, please. It's working. Okay, so we have some few questions, about 10 of them. Please, yes, it's working. Please fill them and then submit. We have 5 minutes. Everybody should do it. We have about 100 people in the room, and I expect to get 100 responses. Are we on it? Okay. So I would allow you some 2 minutes to finish up with that.
Thank you, Rose. Whilst at it, we invited deans of respective faculties in some sister universities. And so if the deans are here or their representatives are here, they can please come for us to duly acknowledge them. Escort. I thought you were coming up. All right. I believe we are still on the pre-evaluation. So we have Dr. Charles Omania Jekum from Winneba representing the Dean right here with us. So we acknowledge you, sir. Any other? Please, we don't want to leave out anyone. Lawyer Grantu Sechi, School of Law, UCC. Faculty of Law, UCC. We duly acknowledge you, your presence. Thank you. Are we through with the pre-evaluation? How many of us have finished? Yeah, that's smart. So the rest of us, let's just speed up. Some 1-2 minutes, and then we move on. May I remind ourselves that we are at the launch of the Resource Governance Campus Hub, and it is to strengthen accountability in resource governance through active citizenship. This is put together by Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, and the Institute for Oil and Gas, UCC. At this juncture, though, I guess the stage is set. We are ready for action. And so, without further ado, I would welcome our provost. He's here today in dual capacity. He's actually represented the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast. Indeed, he was scheduled to be here, and at the very last minute, work had to take him away. And so he's represented the Vice Chancellor of the university, and then he himself is also the Provost for College of Humanities and Legal Studies and our keynote speaker. Before I hand over the microphone, though, let's acknowledge the presence of the Registrar for the Institute, Mrs. Buampong. Yes, Mom. Thank you for all the hard work. Prof.
Thank you. Good morning again. I'm back. And thanks for that reminder. So I'm here also wearing, stepping into the big shoe of my boss, the Vice Chancellor. and he brings his greetings, as already been said. An equally important assignment had to take him away. And so the keynote I'll be giving is on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, just to mention that. But this morning, I try to understand few things as to the relevance of the hub. And so I tried to Google just to understand few things around natural resource governance issue. So I use SciSpace, AI. I don't know how many of you use that, but I just wanted to find out 5 major governance, resource governance issues. And it brought to the 4 issues of inequitable resource distribution. So with quite a lot of work done in Ghana, by professors and researchers in this area. And the emphasis was on Ghana's natural resource wealth, particularly in oil and mining, and the fact that it has not translated into equitable benefit for its citizens. This was one of the studies that was carried out way back in 2016. Another issue that came up was the informal resource extraction. And obviously, it takes our minds back to Galamsey. I come from Western North. And sometimes when I hear people on radio or on TV talk about Galamsey, when they have not even seen a Galamsey pit before, I laugh. And I don't know how many people have been to that region before. We used to be the food basket. But I can tell you now, if you go there, you practically don't find food. In fact, food in some of the areas, food is quite expensive than in Accra and in Cape Coast. And there's been a lot of debate. But coming from that region, my question has always been that we have the worst of all roads in Ghana. And so, until recently, even when it comes to schools, education, all of us have to come to Accra and be trained. And practically, I think that it was one of the neglected regions. So when the young people couldn't find anything to do because of poor roads, there were so much post-harvest losses, and so they couldn't actually sell the few things they produce. So when they saw that they had money in their land and it was much more attractive to agriculture, which they were generally doing, they decided to resort to that. And so when the conversation comes up, these are some of the things I want us to reflect. I've been asked to do a keynote, but I'm going to just pose questions for reflection, because that is what we seek to do. The third element that I saw is also transparency and accountability. Sikano Wayne, where does it go? My daughter, who is now 10, asked me that they say we are mining oil. So why are oil prices going up? This was when we were getting fuel at the fuel dump at the UCC Goy. I'm not an expert, and sometimes I don't want to pretend as if I know everything. I don't think I gave her a very good answer. But Scanaway, is it transparent? Do we know what whatever we are getting from there Do we know what it's being used for? Is there an avenue for us to know? And also, is it even there? Is the information there at all? And do we ourselves also seek for those answers? So transparency and accountability, also one of the things. And so as you commence the conversation and the discussion, I want us to really also reflect on this. And then the other thing that came up is also about environmental sustainability. I've done a couple of work in this area. Plastics, electronic, food waste, textiles. And it's like is it first or second week of every month we do cleaning? The National Sanitation Project. You remember? So we wake up in the morning, we clean, and by 12 o'clock, in fact, sometimes earlier than 12 o'clock, the whole place is messed up. And so, anytime sustainability issues come up, I said, well, the woman in the market at Kotokraba Market or Malamata Market or Agbugbushi or Market Circle or Kumasi Central Market, the farmer in the village, are they really aware? These Galamsey guys, and I want you to one time, for the people in this business, I'm encouraging you that take really a tour. I can speak for Western North. And some of them, they don't even understand your language. They don't know what you are talking about. I had the opportunity one time between Asakregwa and Bekwai. We met some people and they don't even understand English. What they were talking about, we didn't understand it. And so I see one of the elements that when I Googled this morning, I saw. It was about political will. It was about politics. Because as we talk about governance, there is no way we can take out the idea of what? Politics. Otherwise, we can set up all the hubs, do everything. If there is no political will to do that, what is right, we continue to face this challenge. I was giving a long speech, but I decided that this is very important that I raise this as we plan of launching this hub, ensuring that young people are brought on board, they are educated, and then they are much more informed about the state of our economy when it comes to resource governance issues. I've been asked by my CEO that the University of Cape Coast will continue to provide its support for the hub, as we have done for all the various and similar initiatives. For the students here, anytime I teach things on sustainability, I show them my beer. I say my beer is white. And so it means that I'm advanced in age. If you don't take up this cross and start to carry it, and just stop concentrating on things on, is it TikTok or TokTok, and Snapchat and all that, and you don't pay attention to what is happening around us, well, you see my beer, maybe soon I'll be gone, but then the onus will be on you. And so you need to really be interested in issues of sustainability or issues of resource governance and all that. To our colleagues, I'm now able to speak a lot more about resource issues, governance issues. My background is finance and entrepreneurship. But these are things you cannot take it out from any curriculum. Resources, whether it's English or it's archaeology or French. These are real issues that are cut across. So colleagues, I'm also encouraging. For those of us in the College of Humanities and Legal Studies, it is now in our college, and so we have to work closely with the Institute for Oil and Gas. And I'm happy the Dean for Social Science is here, and Vice Dean and other colleagues as well. Colleagues from other universities, issues of sustainability is not a one-sided issue, neither is it a responsibility for just one organization or institution. University of Cape Coast, our doors are open. If UEW, Cape Coast Technical University, and other stakeholders want to come in for us to really tackle these issues, our doors are also open. On that note, I've brought my keynote to the end. I hope that you learn something out of this short discussion or this short interaction I've had with you. I don't speak much, and I will encourage that we keep our speeches very short, but our actions very loud and much more impactful. Thank you for the attention.
Oh, I thought we were going to give a better applause than this. He says we should keep our speeches very short, but the action should be very loud. So I expect a louder applause. Thank you very much, Provost, for the brief but instructive speech. May I also respectfully acknowledge the presence of Dr. Clement Orton, a lecturer, Institute for Oil and Gas. Doc? Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. Now, we take the strengthening accountability in resource governance through active citizenship. And this will be delivered by Kojo Yaoche, Policy Lead, Petroleum and Conventional Energy, ASEP. All right. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Our hosts, Professor Provost, and the deans that are here, thank you very much for hosting us and opening up your space to us to engage your students on such important matters. Anytime I'm on university campuses and I'm called to come and sit at the high table with professors, I sometimes get very intimidated because I don't even have a PhD. They are not my peers, so I shouldn't be sitting there. But it's all fine. The African proverb says, the child that washes his hands well will eat at the table of the elders. So I'm happy that I'm eating from the professors. And I think at the end of my presentation, that proverb will be instructive to all of us. Rosemond was stating that I insist that I am a youth. Indeed, I'm youth. I'm actually very young. But I was lucky to have entered this space very early, right from school. And I've been doing this for all these years. So given the long time that I've spent in this space, when I tell people that I'm a young person, they find it difficult to believe that I am. But I'm just a young person like all of you. And that shows that it is possible that young people can participate in the governance process of our country. You just have to apply yourself and you find yourself there very soon. I have a short assignment to take us through how our petroleum revenues have been managed in Ghana over the years. A lot of this information is actually public information, but our interactions with students, with stakeholders, actually show that people do not even know where to get this information from. And that also shows that transparency doesn't always lead to accountability. Because if the data is there and people are not using it to ask questions, like Prof was trying to avert our minds to questions that we need to answer as a people, then the right things that we expect to be done would not be. So would go through this, but first of all, for people who are asking what ASEP is, ASEP is a research and policy think tank that is based in Ghana, is based in Accra. Our work simply is how do we ensure that what Prof was talking about, that the resources that we have translates into improved welfare for us as a people. And that is why we exist. And that is what we've been doing over the past few years. Just for emphasis, we do work around revenue governance, looking at contracts, institutional development and corporate transparency, climate change and the energy transition, diversity, equity, and inclusion in energy and extractive governance. I think that is where what the engagement we are having with you becomes very important. It's part of that work. How do we ensure that marginalized groups, including women, young people, and also persons with disability, get to participate in the governance of the extractive sector, also get to benefit from the economic benefits of the sector. Those are the things that we look out for. Now, if you look at the extractive sector generally, it has the potential to accelerate development. We have all seen countries globally that have developed from using oil, from using gold, extractive resources. And we aspire to be like them. I remember when Ghana found oil, the then president in 2007, President J. Kufuor said Ghana was like a plane on the runway about to taxi. So it should give us 10 years and we'll be in the skies. We've been doing petroleum business for 15 years now. At the end of my session, I'll ask you whether we are in the sky. And I hope somebody can give me a good answer. So within the period that we've been doing petroleum business, Ghana's share of oil revenues have been around $11 billion. About $4 billion of that has directly supported Ghana's budget. The mining sector has also been contributing significantly. So what all of this shows is that it is a sector that produces significant revenues that, if applied properly, we can use it to transform ourselves, because we've seen other people do it, the likes of the Norway, the Emirates. We've seen that happen. But why is it not happening within our space as Ghana and a lot of African countries? We are suffering from what the economists call the paradox of plenty, where you have so much, yet you suffer from poverty. So there appears to be a broken link between what you have and your state of being as people. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why this happened, including corruption, weak institutions, and all of that. But we see and we've identified that one of the main reasons why all of those reasons can't be perpetuated is poor citizenry oversight, where citizens do not participate in the governance of the space. You would see that corruption will fester more, institutions become more weaker. So that is why we are having this engagement with young people, because like Prof said, well, Prof is talking to all of us now because I'm also part of the youth. We are the future, right? I nearly said you are the future, but we are the future, and we have to be part of the process that transforms, that re-engineers our governance models to ensure that that link is established between the resource wealth of the nation and also the development outcomes of the people. We have seen stories and evidence of how the manifestations of that broken link, right? So you can see areas like in Nigeria where the oil companies can't account for billions, right? It's not 2 cities. Right now, as I am here, I know where all my money is as a person. If my 10 cedis is missing, I will probably be able to trace the last place it's gone missing. But a whole company says there are billions is missing and nobody can find it. There was a period that snakes and rats were swallowing money in Nigeria from oil, the oil sector, right? You have oil ministers that are even richer than companies that are draining oil. Those are some of the pitfalls that we've seen across Africa. Ghana has not been spared of those episodes. We've had monies that we couldn't account for, which are petroleum revenues. And they are easy monies for governments to abuse. But someone will say, so what can we do? All hope is not lost. We have opportunities to make amends. We have tried a lot of transparency mechanisms, including the Petroleum Revenue Management Act in Ghana, the EITI, for example, forcing us to be more transparent in the work that we do, the Resource Governance Index, and the rest. So let's go down into petroleum revenue management in Ghana and some lessons that we can pick from there. Because now you are new to this space, we have put together the data for you to make sense of how we have been managing the space over time. So we learned some useful lessons actually from the mining sector. And like Prof was mentioning, where he comes from, we've been doing mining for years. But you can't really tell what mining revenues have been used for in this country. So we decided that for petroleum, we are going to tag the money to ensure that we can follow the money to the last point of expenditure. So we created a governance architecture that allows us to disperse the money per a certain structure and spend and report as the structure allows through the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. So this is how the structure looks. I don't know how clear that is, but it's very simple. We get all the petroleum revenues that we get, royalties, corporate income taxes, state participation, all of it goes into a petroleum holding fund. And then we give some of it to our national oil company, in this case, GMPC. And I know there are some students from the Institute of Oil and Gas here, so they are very familiar with this. And then what is left, we push 70% of it to the budget and also 30% for stabilization fund and also the heritage fund. But my focus today here is what we spend through the budget, known as the annual budget funding amount. So that amount is to allow us directly spend petroleum revenues on development infrastructure or development investments. The new government has actually has amended the law to allow it to use all the ABFA for what they call the Big Push program. That is a set of big ticket infrastructure projects that the government wants to deliver within a certain period of time, which we hope that would make more sense than what used to be the case in the past, where we thinly spread the amount such that projects don't get completed, then there are cost overruns and time overruns. So this, we hope the intention is as clear as the implementation. But what has happened over the period? Over the period, like I mentioned before, we've received about $4 billion into the budget from 2021 to 2024. 2024, we did 205 million Ghana's dollars. So you see that the graph also depicts how production and prices have been. It's a function of how production and prices have been. Within the 2015, 2016, 2017 commodity crisis, you see that receipts have been low. And then just after COVID, when prices recovered, receipts have been higher. Even though on the production level, our production has been declining for the past 5 years. But prices have been good, so it's been able to cover for the decline. Now, before the amendment, we were to spend the ABFA according to a long-term development national plan. But I think the framers also were aware that Ghana, we can't come to a point where we'll have a long-term development national plan. So they said, okay, we should use the medium-term expenditure framework, which is aligned with the long-term development plan, and also use certain priority areas, right? 12 of them: agric and industry, physical infrastructure and service delivery and education, science and technology, rural development, developing alternative energy sources, among others. But in the subsequent slides, you see that it's only a few of them that have seen expenditure in those areas. Between 2011 and 2013, we had priority areas: expenditure and amortization of loans for oil and gas infrastructure, agriculture modernization, road and other infrastructure and capacity building. And we repeated them 2013 to 2016 for these areas. And this is how much we spent on them. More than half of that has gone into road and other infrastructure. Some people are smiling at me. Why is your road sport? Yes. And then in the next period, the priority areas changed in 2017. So 2017 to 2019, we had road, rail, and other critical infrastructure development, agriculture, physical infrastructure and service delivery in education, physical infrastructure and service delivery in health, right? Again, road, rail, and other critical infrastructure development got half of the expenditure there. And then it was around the time that free SHS was introduced, so education received 41% of ABFA spending. And I'm sure some of you are products of free SHS, so just so you know, our all money also contributed to your education. Then, in the next period, 2020 to 2024, we maintained some and introduced industrialization that we even didn't spend on. Again, road, rail, and other critical infrastructure developments got about 64% of the expenditure. So then someone will ask, where are the roads? The interesting thing about this is that we just put this into bulk figures. But if you look at the reports, the law actually requires that government lists everything that they've spent on and how much they claim they have spent on them. So, for example, if you look at the past government's One Village, One Dam was financed from oil revenues, right? 650,000 Ghana cedis on the average for one. And we have been to some of the dams, and they only hold water during the rainy season. So that should tell you what is happening within the space. So if you are drilling down the data, like I was saying, 68% between 2015 and 2021, 68% of the expenditure was in irrigation development, right? Unfortunately, those were not properly done, so the people are actually still facing the same problem. It is even interesting that in one of the communities, there's a dam that came from this expenditure, but the dam doesn't hold water. But there was an old sand-winning pit that they just fetch sand, and that pit had water during the dry season. But the engineered dam didn't have water. Right. So those are some of the challenges that we face. So it is not enough for government to say, okay, we've constructed dams at this amount. Our citizens will now have to confirm whether, if at all, those exist, because like I'll show you very soon, there are instances where those projects do not even exist as they are listed, right? And then we spent some also on building warehouses. We went to one community where because of contestations on where to site the warehouse is far from everybody, all the communities around. So the warehouse is not operational. People are still keeping their corn and everything in their houses. That is wasted investment. So then you ask yourself, was there a needs assessment that was done to ask the people, what are your priorities in terms of development? But you go and give them a warehouse. The people are not using the warehouse. The AC units were even stolen. Some thieves broke into the place and stole the AC units. So they've gone to lock the place down. Nobody is using it. And some of those warehouses have been built for around 800,000 Ghana cedis, 1 million Ghana cedis. That is how your oil revenue is being expended. When you come to health, within the same period, you'll see that we spend quite a big chunk on non-medical expenses. So, for example, we spend on administrative blocks. we use the health expenditure within the period to build a lot of administrative blocks and e-health projects, softwares that I think now almost all government hospitals run on a certain software that if you go to all hospitals, you can just present your card and then your data. Yes, so some of this money was spent on those systems. And then some health centers and CHIP compounds. But you see that when it comes to antenatal and maternity infrastructure, very low. But we know a huge chunk. So these are some of the equity dimensions of expenditure that you have to look at. If a huge chunk of the population is women, and the biggest health concern is around maternity and antenatal health care, and you don't spend in those areas like you should, then are they really benefiting from the expenditure that you are making? In education, like you see here, 87% of education allocation was spent on free SHS, and then around COVID, we used about 100 million Ghana cedis to do fumigation and cleaning in the various secondary schools, and we're all in this country, isn't it? Yeah. And then we also supported school coordination committees with another 150 million Ghana cedis. And some small on scholarship claims and education infrastructure. So if you drill down the data for the sectors that we call pro-poor sectors, where increased expenditure will lead to significant alleviation of poverty, this is how the petroleum revenues were expended in these sectors. Now, I've already stated some of the issues with the expenditure in terms of the equity considerations. When you look at the allocation, we see in some sectors, for example, in agric, that instead of oil revenues becoming supplementary to existing government expenditure in those areas, it's actually replacing it. And that is very dangerous because extractive revenue is volatile and is also finite. So if you are drawn into the culture of not spending government tax revenue on a sector, but only relying on the resource revenue, you are creating a problem for yourself. Where there are volatilities, then it means that you are not going to be able to spend in those areas. There are other areas that we see under disbursement. So even where the ABFA, the target, the projected has been realized, they don't spend all of it. So you see that there is unutilized ABFA. In recent years, we've seen unutilized. The money is there, but if not disbursed it to the various sectors for them to use. What that happens is that you are going to create a system where on paper you had allocated those monies to them to deliver certain projects or deliver certain goods and services. And that will mean that subsequently there's no longer going to be that same level of allocation, even though the disbursements have not been done. And you'll be constricting the development of those spaces. There are also instances of ghost projects. Ghost projects. It is listed that those projects have been done, but you go to those communities and you would not find them. Sometimes the people don't even know, the local assemblies don't even know that these projects are supposed to come to them. Then there's a problem also of efficiency of spending in terms of the quality of delivery. We have seen school buildings that under 2 years have started developing cracks, right? serving as danger to communities. Also, the way the projects are being delivered, they call, there's a name they call for those projects. So the project is sourced to a contractor in Accra for a community somewhere, maybe a school building or a health center. And the contractor comes to site even without the knowledge of the local authorities over there. So then the level of supervision that you expect from the municipal or the assembly engineer on the project is not there. And then when you go and ask them, they say they don't know anything about the project. So they will deliver it like that. There have been an instance, I think, around Bekum, where one similar case, the contractor came on site, started working. Even the chiefs didn't know anything about what was going on. And then I think one of their trucks knocked down a young person. And then the youth rose up against the contractor. That was when he ran to the chief palace to go and introduce himself as the contractor there. So that level of disconnect between, it's not a bad thing if the project is sourced from Accra, but transmitting the information to the local authorities so that they're able to supervise quality delivery is also a problem. There are also consultants that are paid for lots of projects and they can't tell you where the projects are located. But they are paid millions of Ghana cedis as consultants. But they don't know where the project is, right? Those are some of the challenges that we face. There is also the inclusion of vulnerable groups in project delivery. For example, persons with disability. We went to, people in this area will know, we went to Anomabo Fisheries College, which has received petroleum revenues for a number of years now for the construction of the buildings there. And we were asking about disability access. And was it the foreman said, oh, as for persons with disability, they don't have anything to do at the top there. He said they don't have anything, so that's why the reception is at the down. Meanwhile, all the offices of the directors are at the top, right? Was it 2 weeks ago? I saw a news where the Medina MC, I don't know if someone else saw that news, came and was having so there was a person with disability who wanted access to his office. But because the building is not disability friendly, he had to come and meet the person downstairs. And there was all social media fuss about, oh, he's a humble person. He came down, to meet him. A lot of people were missing the fact that if the minister, the MC, was not in the position to come down, the guy couldn't have in any way gone up to. If anybody obstructed him, he couldn't have gone to meet the person there. You go to health centers, and then they do ramps, right? And the ramps, an able-bodied person, I find it difficult walking on the ramps because it's too steep. So you see that those things are all afterthoughts that they do for the project. If we claim or not claim, if our constitution says, and the lawyer is here, that all our resources are held in trust by the president for all of us, then if the benefits of the extraction of those resources accrue to us, then everybody should benefit from it. And I think those are things that we have to start having conversations about as young people in this country. So these are a few things. I usually have a small exercise that I like to do at the tail end of this presentation. And maybe I'll just throw it out here as questions and see if some of you can provide some answers for me. What future do you see for the management of extractive resources in Ghana? Don't worry, this is my questions for you. There'll be time for you to ask questions to me, so you can keep your questions. How can young people engage with the resource governance process in Ghana, and what opportunities are available to facilitate this engagement? So maybe I'll give you 3-4 minutes to reflect on these questions, and then I'll take a few answers and then now take your questions. I hope that is fine. Is it fine? Those at the back. I see some 2 people with red band on their head. Are we doing Aluta today? You are mourning. Okay.
So sorry for your loss. We commiserate with you, though. So, do we have answers to our brothers' questions? We take them quickly, and then we also ask him questions. I think it's fair, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the questions, the first one, what future do you see for the management of extractive resources in Ghana? What future do we see for the management of extractive resources in Ghana? Let's, explore. One professor told me that in a university setting, there is no wrong answer, there is no right answer. So you just say it. For all you know, you might be the right one we are looking for. Any hands up, please? Any attempt? This is under duress. We won't take it. Well, maybe she can also help us, so let me come to you. Please, a round of applause for her, even as she attempts.
I think you have to give the disclaimer first that you are not Ghanaian. So that, yes.
My hand was raised under duress. So,
okay.
Yeah. Anyways, as far as the future for extractive resources in Ghana, I'll take the knowledge I have from my own country, and hopefully it will be in context. I think if the management is going to be appropriate or proper, we have to contextualize it both internally and to the external demand. Right now, critical minerals are a thing, but also we need to question the idea of critical for who. If we're talking about sustainability, sustainable for who? Right, most of these calls are from the external countries or the West, but management has to also be within and to see how minerals are actually being moved from Ghana to, if we're exporting them, because there's also the idea of illicit financial flows, and most of them come from the extractive sector. So I think the future of extractive resources and their management has to start within. But because of the cause of critical minerals, it might be difficult to actually properly manage them. That's just my thought.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So someone has broken the ice for us.
Yes. Moti bibi dear.
It's like the...
Did you hear something? How can you tell me no?
The teacher who finished teaching said, do you understand? Yes, sir. What you said.
No, sir.
So, anyway.
Yeah, so...
Just a few hands. There's a hand at the back. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, can you stand so that I see you? Yes.
So the future for the management of extractive resources in Ghana is assured if only when you continue to trace those budgets, that if the thing is missing, you can be able to trace and know where they are, what they've been used for, and then not that, oh, it is missing. We've gotten the thing, or like, for example, gold like this. They've gotten it, they've extracted, but at the end of it, maybe money is missing or some of the gold is missing. Where are they? Is it that one person has just taken it and then claimed for it, or has been used for the government, and then how was it used to help the country or for the governance? So if I think you continue to do those budgets, and then the leaders also, or those people in charge, are also appropriate and honest to themselves and to the country, I think that the future of the management for the extractive resource in Ghana is very well assured and will help the country.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, so we're there, here. Okay, any other?
There's a hand here.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I think from what you have presented, the future of the management extractive resources of Ghana is going to be successful if we can all try to get accountability to the grassroots, and then I think take a stand when it comes to accountability with extractive resources, and then put the partisan politics aside and ensure that we keep our eyes on the resources. Then we have a great future. Thank you.
All right. There's a final hand at the back. The guy in the
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. My suggestion is, if there will be social inclusion, anytime you talk about development, we set our eyes on like at the top. But if there is change of mind, how those are the base, how they have their mindset towards some certain things, some of the resources as we talk about. Because when you take gold for instance, how are they going to utilize it? When they utilize it, how is it going to benefit the community? So that at the end, the target that we are having, that we want to achieve, we can be accomplished. So first of all, education, and also we have to have change of mind. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. So allow me to offer a few ideas on how young people can interface with the resource governance process. We are very lucky that as young people here, a lot of us are information literate. We have access to a lot of information. So we can engage in research and advocacy using the disclosed data to highlight deficiencies in policies and governmental action. I always tell young people when I go to university campuses that all of us are from one community or the other. So if every year you can just check the petroleum reports that are published and see if your community has been featured in it, and then the next time you go to your community, you see whether what they said they've done for you is there. That is also your way of ensuring that we are able to track what government is doing. So project tracking, monitoring and reporting, online petitions to establish popular supports to influence government
yet they don't even know where projects are being done. One village, one dam, a dam is awarded, and as you said, it is dry, and yet one that had sand in it that was collected will contain water. So what is the accountability so far? Those who have been paid monies and yet nothing has been executed in that line. Because of that, I don't see any future unless you give me, the answer to this question that there has been accountability. Then there's no future to how we are going to manage our resources.
Should we take some few more before you answer?
Yeah, let's take three or four.
Very well. So, any other, please? Please feel free. Okay, yes.
Thank you for the opportunity. My question is...
Okay, so for the questions, please, your name and your program. Just short. Yeah.
My name is Yakubu Ali, BA Physical Education. My question is, how will the management effectively function in case there is no political will?
How will the management effectively function when there is no political will? Okay. He's noted it. Any other question, please? Any other? Okay.
Okay, so I'm Ajo Apiasi. I'm from University of Education, Winneba, School of Business, BSc Accounting Education. So my question is, before you assign a project to a contractor or someone, there is a follow-up. I want to ask whether there is a follow-up. And if yes, how then can we get a ghost project if there is a follow-up? And then we give them money as well. Thank you.
Very well. So we have 3 questions. You take them, and then we'll move on.
Very interesting and difficult questions. So, what is the accountability around petroleum revenue management so far? So the problem that we've had has been that there is not much follow-up on some of these things, especially on the transparency side. The things that government says it has done, except, for example, can only maybe visit as many projects. Sometimes there are about 300 projects in a year. ASAP can only visit maybe 10 or 15 projects and make exposures on those projects. There are still more that we do not know about. And that is why we require that every citizen will be a vanguard, a watchdog on their own. So that even if you see that some project has been listed in your community, that it has been delivered in your community, and you can't find it, you can reach out to us and then, right. There are cases where some of the contractors have been surcharged, but those are also few because of, and that will tie into the question about ghost projects. So we have found a way to suck the expenditure of petroleum revenue into the political patronage system, where the contractors are actually political contractors, right? And when that happens, then it becomes difficult for the government to pursue them unless there's a change of government. So that is where, as citizens, we shouldn't wait only for a change of government, but we should push them. Because political will only comes, in fact, political power only comes from the citizens. Our leaders derive their power from us. If you look at the structure of democracy, all of us cannot lead our society. So we cede our leadership to some people to lead on our behalf. But if every 4 years we wake up and go and do that exercise and go and sleep without checking whether the trustees of your leadership are leading the way you want them to lead, then it's going to be problematic. For example, you have some money, and then you form a company, and you ask some people to manage the company for you, and you only come every 4 years to come and do 4-year audits of the business. But the next time you come, the company will collapse. I don't think any of us will do that. But we allow that process in the political space. And that is why, if you take every government, they wish that you don't know what they are doing. They wish that you don't know anything they are doing, so that they will continue to perpetuate the things that they do that destroy the nation. In fact, only about 5% of the things that happen in this country make the news. Right? Only about 5% of them. So we have to, on our own, force them, right, to do the right things. There are policies that governments want to implement, and people stand up against them. You see, they will backtrack. It's the same way. That is accountability, forcing them to listen to you. But if you convince them that you don't care, you only care on December 7 every 4 years, we'll have the problem that we have. So all hope is not lost. Doc, if we take charge, if we as the citizens decide to be more responsible in our demand for accountability. You know, the accountability is like an equation. There's a supply side, which is on the government, and there's a demand side, which is from the citizens. If demand doesn't push, supply will not come. I think for the mathematicians, that makes a lot of sense for you, right? Okay. Any more questions from us?
Yeah.
There's a question. Yes.
Thank you, sir. My name is Efri Akwesiata. I wanted to ask that in your presentation, you said that it seems like the extractive company is funding the revenue of like the nation instead of it to supplement it. So my question is, what should the extractive company do? What are the things that they should put in place in order to make sure that they don't replace the funding, but they actually supplement it? Thank you.
All right. Just in case you have a question, but you don't want to perhaps stand up and say, you can send it as a text message. I will read it out. And then, so let me then provide the phone number, 0244 75 7298. 0244 75 7298. And you can post your questions, and then we will ask them.
I would, however, encourage that you should be bold to ask your questions, because if you meet power holders, people who are in, you should be expected to, question them, right? This is a learning ground for that kind of.
Okay, so I think the future for our resources will be greater if we properly manage how we allocate the resources. So I was asking that what are some of the measures that you've put in place to optimize resource allocation and also to prevent waste or something like that?
You get it? All right. Could you, my gentleman here says,
them to be able to do the things that we want them to do. So it is well within our responsibilities as citizens to drive politicians to political will. I think the question the gentleman asked here was, so the statement I made was that extractive revenue is replacing traditional government revenue, not a company, no. So it's government using the revenue that they get from the petroleum sector, is replacing it. And I did mention that that is a very dangerous situation because resource revenues are volatile, which means that they are subject to a lot of fluctuations, including price and output, and also are finite. They can run out. Your oil well, you can finish producing the oil. So when that happens, then how do you finance that sector? So it is a cautionary note to governments that the revenue that you are getting from the resource sector is supposed to supplement what you have. So for example, if you have been spending 30 million Ghana cedis on education, and now you have allocation from resource petroleum revenues, 30 million Ghana cedis. Your total spending on education should now be 60 million Ghana cedis instead of 30 million Ghana cedis. Right? That was the point that I was making. So that you don't set up yourself for the dreaded Dutch disease that we talk about. How do we optimize resource allocation? I think in our case, in the petroleum management infrastructure that we've built, the resource allocation is quite optimal. It is the disbursement and the expenditure that has a lot of problems, as I have outlined, where projects are poorly delivered, where equity considerations are an afterthought, where we spend, for example, if you look at agric expenditure, where we spend on irrigation, we spend on warehouses that are not being used, and then there are people in those communities have far bigger needs than those things that we've provided for them. That is going to waste. So that is where we have to look at efficiency of spending, ensuring that our spending is meeting the needs of the people. If some people don't need warehouse, and even it's a farming community, you don't need to go and put a warehouse there, right? You have to talk to the people and get to know what really it is that they need. It shouldn't be because we want to build 100 warehouses, so we are sharing it for everybody, even though they don't need it. That should not be the case. That was the point that we have to look at in terms of efficiency of spending. That is the only way that the expenditure would benefit the people, would improve their outcomes. If you go and do something that the people do not need or they will abandon. We've seen a lot of market projects, for example, and we build markets with stalls and everything, and the people don't use the markets. They are now overgrown with weeds, right? So that should tell you that for that community, market was not their primary need. Maybe it is water, or maybe it is toilets, for example. People are laughing when I say toilet. Toilet is a very important welfare indicator. Water, water, housing, electricity, toilets. These are very critical things that shows that you are an improved society. If not, we won't be celebrating open defecation, stopping open defecation in certain communities. Yeah, no, you go to certain communities, they put signboard there. This is an open defecation free community, and World Bank logo is there. And so toilets are very important. We have to provide more toilets. Anyway, any more question or Yes.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Benjamin Ofosu Kwame Nyako, and I'm a national service person at the Department of Sociology and Anthropology. I had a couple of questions, but I'm going to just ask two of them, following your response to Prof's question and the other question. So from what I've been able to gather, ASAP is an organization that is bridging the gap between research advocacy and implementation of, should I say, right ways in our extractive and energy resource sector. So my question is, how effective has your transparency and accountability efforts been? And I believe the launch of this particular governance hub is to get more active citizenry participation. So how do I know that you people are very autonomous and whatever I am contributing to your efforts is actually going to push the government to actually take action that is in the best interest of we all as citizens? Thank you.
Good question. You still have something to say? Okay, could you, the gentleman who asked the question about management efficiency and the political will is kind of not satisfied with what your answer. So he wants to elaborate. So we get him properly, please.
Well, thankfully there are professors here. They will help.
Thank you very much. Please, my question was in respect to how the management of the extractive resource would function. Suppose there is no political will.
It's the same question you've asked. I thought you were coming to elaborate. So maybe if you can explain what you mean, really what you are thinking about. In other words.
Yeah, okay. Okay. He says it's now okay.
No, so, okay, so maybe if I, alternatively, you are trying to ask what will happen if all the things that I'm saying we should do not happen. Is that what you are asking for?
Okay, somebody is trying to get to his head and understand. Okay. So the person has rephrased the question.
Okay, let's
that
have it.
Should politicians hands off our extractive resources, can the various organizations manage these resources properly? Is that a question?
Is that a question?
Is that it? He says yes. So if there is no political interference, okay.
Okay, so unfortunately, governance is a fruit of the political process. Right? Like I tried to explain, we all can't be leaders, so we cede our leadership power to a group of people to lead and manage on our behalf. Right? And the vehicle to achieve that is politics and partisan elections. Right? So definitely you need people to be managing affairs of the country on behalf of all of us. And those people will have to be selected from a political process, or in some cases, a military rule, or a monarchical rule, right? But we have adopted the multi-party system that allows us to choose the group of people that will lead us within a period. So you cannot take away politicians and the bigger government out of the space in terms of the governance of the resources that we have. That is why, while you have ceded that power to them, you make sure that they don't abuse it. Right? That is our responsibility then, because we can't do that. There's no leadership in vacuum.
All right.
I think the other question about how effective ASAP ASAP's work has been, and how are you sure that if you participate in the governance process, you are contributing to ASAP's effort, and then it's genuine contribution that you are making? I think the first thing you have to note is that if you participate in the governance process, you are doing it for Ghana, not ASAP, right? Because the resources belong to all of us. ASAP has also been very successful over the years in a lot of advocacy efforts. One example. In 2021, GMPC went to Parliament to go and get a loan of $1.6 billion, right, to go and acquire stakes in Aker Energy's assets, right? And we mobilized civil society and fought against that deal, that there was no value for money in that transaction. 3 years after, and it was shelved, thankfully, they didn't continue. The same assets that was being valued at 1.67 billion was sold to somebody else for $1. So we would have locked the nation into that transaction because we're going to take a loan for it, and now we will still be servicing that debt. That is just one of the things that we have been able to do. A lot of the stuff that goes on in the energy and extractive space that you have now come to be aware of have been through the industry of ASAP. There are some things that we even do through partnership with other people. Take, for example, the recent one, SML, right? Is an initiative of ASAP in partnership with the Fourth Estate to do that investigation. So there are countless examples of how we have been able to stop things that are bleeding the state in terms of money that is being wasted. And I would invite you that you shouldn't join ASAP efforts, but create new pathways for accountability that you can demand government, because they will listen, to do the things that you want them to do. It is very, very possible to do that.
Right, Kojo, thank you. There is a question here, but just before that, someone has texted. He says, where can we access these projects online? And two, for how long in years can you hold a contractor accountable for ghost ABFA projects?
Okay, my name is Eric Esuman from University of Education, Winneba, School of Business. Now, when Prof was giving the keynote address, he spoke very well on sustainability, which is a good thing. It's a trend around the world. Now, I want to know, does Ghana have a laid-down framework on sustainability, transparency, and accountability regarding extractive resource management? That's my first question. Secondly, Ghana is an agrarian economy. Agriculture is our backbone here. And then in your PowerPoint presentation on the ABFA allocation on agriculture, I saw only 0.19 for agriculture education. So how can we properly develop our agriculture going forward if we are not willing to spend on education in that area? Thank you.
Right. So, Kojo, I think you can take these questions.
Yes, so that will be the last set of questions. Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, thank you. So your second question, I don't think Ghana is no longer an agrarian economy. if you look at the contribution of the various sectors, we are more tilted towards service, the service industry than agriculture. But I mean, it's a very valid point that how can we properly develop agriculture if we are not spending on agriculture? And that is a very legitimate concern to have, and it's one of the things that we've been advocating for when we meet the ministries of finance and stuff. That, like I mentioned earlier, agriculture, health, education are known as the pro-poor sectors because an investment in those sectors leads to significant poverty alleviation. So we have to keep pounding on the door of government to ensure that they spend on that. Does Ghana have a laid down framework for sustainability? So in the petroleum space, we have the energy transition framework that looks into the future and says, well, given the energy transition conversations that we are having, this is how the future will look like, and this is how, as a nation, we are going to transition, right? Beyond that, there are other environmental safeguards that ensure that resource extraction is done in a sustainable manner, and the EPA is the agency that is in charge of that, both in the mining and also in the petroleum sector. So there is sufficient regulatory and institutional frameworks around sustainability in Ghana. But of course, the problem has always been, how do you translate all those things into ensuring compliance, ensuring that everybody is, the same rules apply to everybody the same, to ensure that, because we have laws around Galamsey and all of these things, but they are still going on, right? You can't dredge a river body in Ghana. There are laws against that, but people are doing it because the compliance of that law is weak, right? So that has always been our problem, and we have to work towards that. Let me take the last question, and then I'll go. Where can we assess all of this? Very important question. So the Petroleum Revenue Management Act requires the Ministry of Finance to publish the petroleum reports on a quarterly and annual basis. Again, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, which is a citizens' oversight body on petroleum revenue expenditure or management, also publishes a report twice a year, a semi-annual report and an annual report. And in those reports, you'll find the list, not only the list of projects, but you'll find the allocation, the disbursements, the report on all of those things there. And it's a very good resource. So go to PIAC website or go to the Ministry of Finance website and check the petroleum reports. Even the budget, the finance minister gives the various allocations at the board level of petroleum revenue. So those are good places to start. And how long can you hold contractors accountable? As long as you need to, right? Advocacy is not a sprint event. It's a marathon. And people who want to do bad will wish that you get tired easily. And I'll leave you with, before my boss comes in, I'll leave you with this statement that I like to make, that while good people meet to plan to do good, evil people also meet to plan to do evil. So let us not let the evil people triumph in the governance of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our boss has a contribution.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sorry that I'm not going to have a question, pose a question, but comments. Well, I'm Joseph Esando Yedu. I used to be the Director for Policy and Plan at the Energy Commission, and now visiting lecturer to the Institute for Oil and Gas Studies. You see, with all of you students over here, the very good ones. We have a certain custom. You see, the very good ones, so-called very religious, we avoid politics. And we allow chobo ye to get in there. Now when they get in there, how do you do? But if you have people like that going there, a lot of things will change. Do you see, first of all? You talk about, also you talk about the coalition that they should form. I would also accept, you know, when you had a coalition with other, I would say, think tanks, what happened? The ACATIN and others all stopped. So you also come, I guess you came alone. You should also come with some of your groups. So you are here not only as ACEP, but also presenting these voices. This is very, very important. Then somebody mentioned, yes, the indiscipline. Say you go and put a market over here, they will not use. Go to, I don't know who have been to Benin, Togo, and the French-speaking countries. The streets, no way. Clean. Don't sell here, you will not sell. But here, you don't care. Because you open somebody will do the hands like they put something in, and they allow you to mess around, you vanish. So is there any policeman over here? I guess no. Fine. Then, another thing is this resource, this stakeholder participation. Like it's very, very important. We still are using, I keep saying, look at those in the lithium and that you are talking about. The boss side. They say compensation. I keep saying, house of the boss there. All kind of practice. Colonial practice. We are still doing that. So because the compensation, you give me money, excuse me, the chief, you take, and then some of the politicals, they take it, and then that's to abandon the citizenry. You see, these developed parties, what they do is we call it citizenry or called investment. If there's a company here, this lithium, and then they make part of this, what they call it, citizenry, the investment, they make sure it moves on properly. Are you not sure? Yes. You see, but they are not encouraging that. I proposed it long ago. Do you see in some of these projects, but they don't care, they don't mind. Do you see? Yes. So that is very key, very important. Then also, for example, some of us who commented on this extractive business, the both side. Have they been able to do the both side production they thought they would do? No, because I told them, both sides we have it, but it requires a very cheap source of electricity. We call them base metal industries. The machines we are giving to industry, you can't run. So in the long run, they will secretly ship them to China. Do you see? And then what happened? It's there. You're still exporting in this present time or this outside to the country for them to process. Do you see? And then they bring the whole thing back. Yeah. So I would say because of time, these are some of the things. So it's very, very important. So be part of it, these politics, so that you have the way of implementing some of these things. And then also the whistleblower system. Do you have it in our system, our country, the whistleblowers? Yes, if it's really working, a lot of things will leak out. You see, but hardly we do it. The issues face the country, so we know we provide solutions, but don't mind you. Do you see? They will not mind because of the structure. And I remember this thing we are doing, this power sector debt. Do you see? We criticized the way they were good about it. By a certain point in time, I was no more invited to the meetings. Do you see? But one group, the gas, where that somebody was, a politician was in the air all the time, insulting the Energy Commission. Yeah, we have done this, we are delaying the project, all those. So one day I was in my office and a certain boss, my former boss, who was then at the Ministry of Energy, opened my door by, Esando, you know more gas than all the people are there. Come and sit inside, please. And I went inside. These people are my colleagues. My boss was there. But he never invited me. So I said, now listen. So I listened to both sides. Do you see? And then there was, luckily for us, there was a third-party technical group from UK that was supervising the project for us. They were complaining that the Chinese were not building the project well. Don't they say they are building well? So I said, okay, good. Now, if you lay the pipeline, we're bringing pipeline to Atuabo. If you don't cover it, let us come and inspect before you cover it. You go there, it's covered. They open the whole thing, let's inspect. You go there, substandard materials. And this was a Chinese company, government company. So we said, oh, let's cover it, let's replace it before you continue. You see, and that's more or less delays the project, but it end up well. So when you complete the whole thing, the gas thing over there, they say we don't have the technical capacity. So they were bringing from people from China. Do you see? I'm very sure the prisoners. Now you go to our market, they say, oh, a bit ma'am, tomato 1 cedi, Chinese. You see? We said, no. When I was in the US doing my studies, I met Ghanaians who were seasoned doing all that. Let's go and call them. Do you see? One person that who helped was in the US was Dr. Benasanti, who later became the boss. Do you see? And so the gas, there are trouble gas, perfectly. Do you see? So if a lot of you can be sincere and do all that, we see that coalition and then talk against all these government practices. And then also enter the politics, not to fill your pockets, but to really implement your conscience, the good conscience in there. The country run well. Africa, we are not poor, but the way we are managing our resources. Do you see? That's the whole thing. They will tell you don't use this fuel. I keep saying that's why I got a conflict beginning with your board, Mr. Boache. He was upset with me, but now you see what I was saying now were true. So the Chinese are using the coal and others. They are treating you. Do you see? Can you use renewable to run an industry? No, it's a miss. Do you see? So you go to Tanzania, about 30% of the country has electricity. Then they ship the whole coal to China and produce it. Who is a fool? Look at Nigeria there. A lot of but Ghana here at least we moved. Over 90% of the population have access to electricity. Go to Nigeria, they have everything, oil. They have coal. Just about 50%. Do you see? So all these things are very, very important. Okay.
On that note, a bigger applause for all of us. Indeed, our brother Kojo Yache did a fantastic presentation, and we also posed very, very fantastic questions. All right, so we are moving on, and like the caption says, launch of the Resource Governance Campus Hub to strengthen accountability in resource governance through active citizenship. So now we are going to launch the Resource Governance Hub. To help us do that, please, let's appreciate Madam Maybell Akwe, Kojo Yaoche, and of course, Rosemary Sefa. Rosemont. I changed your name, forgive me. I'm happy it wasn't the same name.
Thank you very much. So this is the moment of truth, the core of our gathering here this morning, or it's afternoon already. So before we launch, I think one thing we need to note that I was in a previous session and somebody asked the question that as young people, what are some of the resources available to us to engage in resource governance? And my answer was simple. The best resource you have is yourself. Your ability to take interest in the broader governance of our country and nation building is your best resource. And now we are lucky to even have social media. It's the best tool available to us as young people if we want to really participate in nation building and also ensure so that it will be an ASAP UCC initiative. Because when we are done, we will leave. You will be here to... Oh, okay. I'm told University of Education, Winneba is here. Please, if their leadership is here, yes, they can... All right. Thank you so much for coming. So, I don't know. Can we shift this? Yes, please join me here. Join me here. Everybody. Let's officially launch the Resource Hub. This is symbolic. The main job is after here. So, yes, I'll hand over to Kojo.
So,
it looks like I'm leading, please.
So, we are signing on UCC, right? So, like the footballers do when they sign them, newly sign them. And that is symbolic of the launch of the Resource Governance Campus Hub on the UCC campus. Oh, a bigger more round of applause. Thank you so much. There's more JCs for them. The latest players for the Resource Governance. Yes, okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right. All right, thank you very much, our professors. Now that we have launched, what kind of English is that? Now that, having launched, let me speak good English, I'm in the university. Having launched the UCC chapter of the Resource Governance Campus Hub, Mabel will introduce the patron, the founding patron of the hub, the anchor person for all of the activities of the hub for the medium term. So, Mabel.
Yeah. All right. So, as I mentioned, we will just leave back to our office, but the Resource Governance Hub is not your usual club, although it's a campus club, but it's to foster learning and foster collaboration and meaningful student engagement beyond just gathering for meetings. So to ensure that, we are happy to unveil our very first patron. Although with a short notice, he was very receptive, opened his doors for us, led us to the UCC broader campus, introduced us and made way to the leadership of the school. And he told us we shouldn't worry, he will get neighboring students to participate. And he went by his word. So I'm very honored this afternoon to invite Professor Edward Nunu, the Director for Institute of Oil and Gas Studies here at UCC, as the first patron for the Resource Governance Hub UCC chapter. And as protocol deserves, I will give the opportunity for Prof to share some few words. I always say he bears the burden of maneuvering the unclear path to ensure that this hub is sustained and successful. Prof, thank you very much. You're welcome.
The Provost of the College of Humanities and Legal Studies, Professor Daniel Ejapon, the Dean of the Faculty of Social Science, Professor Simon Mariwa, invited deans, heads of departments, directors, sister universities representatives that are present, distinguished guests, our friends from the media, our special guest of honor, our special students. In fact, this hub is specifically designed for our cherished students. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I must say that it is an honor done me today to be nominated as the founding patron to this special resource governance hub. Permit me to read something that I've penned down. I want to begin by thanking ACEP, that's the African Center for Energy Policy, for this visionary initiative, and to all students who have and will be committing to be part of this transformative journey. As we are all aware, our country, Ghana, is endowed with natural resources, and these resources hold the promise of driving sustainably a sustainable and inclusive development. And as we are all aware, this promise can only be fully realized if the resources are managed with transparency, accountability, and community engagement. And this is where we find ourselves today, especially when the youth are involved in this initiative. By empowering tertiary students with the tools, knowledge, and platform needed to advocate for responsible resource management, we will be cultivating a new generation of leaders who will not only stand for integrity, equity, and sustainability in the governance of our natural resources, but will also help in building a sustainable nation. I accept this engagement, this offer, this role. I see it to be a very challenging one, but I pledge my full commitment to supporting and guiding this hub. My role will go beyond providing mentorship and strategic direction to align with ACEP's broader vision of empowering the next generation of resource governance leaders. And together as we find ourselves here, we can create bridges between the hub and key stakeholders in the natural resource and energy sectors. And to our cherished leaders and student, you are the heart and soul of this initiative. The success of this hub depends on your dedication, will depend on your dedication, creativity, and willingness to rise to the occasion. At this juncture, I will encourage you all to take full advantage of the opportunities that this platform will offer, whether through its capacity building, workshops, research projects, or advocacy campaigns. Present yourself, collaborate, innovate, and most importantly, let your voices be heard. Finally, I want to express my gratitude once again for this unwavering support from ACEP and from the University of Cape Coast Management for their endorsement, and to all stakeholders present who have made this day possible. Together, we'll be shaping the future where Ghana's natural resources will truly serve as a foundation for sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. I thought you would announce maybe the leadership, if you have some, maybe the president or acting president, if you have. That's okay. All right.
So, on this note, what the Natural Resource Governance Hub entails is that on the university campus, we need to get a chapter. And the chapter will be managed by the chapter executives, the Resource Governance Hub executive. So in the governance structure of the executive, we're going to have the president, we're going to have the vice president, we're going to have the general secretary, the financial secretary, a programs coordinator, and the public relations officer. At this point, to our cherished students and to our cherished sister university student present, including the lecturers, if you are here and you want to avail yourself to be part of the founding executives, please get in touch with me after this program, and then we can have your name. In fact, the governance, the leaders of, or the executives of the hub will be introduced at another event, not today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nunu. Please, let's give a hand to Prof. Nunu. Like I mentioned, it's a Herculean task for him to charter the muddy waters. So before we close, please, we have set up a desk, a registration desk for interested students who want to be part of the Resource Governance Hub UCC chapter. Please, my colleague, Rosamond, is it outside? Okay, so the registration desk outside, please register to be a member of the Resource Governance Hub. And if you are not very sure, you need time to reflect on your membership, Professor Nunu is here. I'm sure if you go to the Institute of Oil and Gas Studies, you can receive some directive and also register. I think there was a link, a registration link. Since you are students, there was a registration link. Okay, we can create a registration link and share so that you can just register online to make it easier from wherever you are. Please, we encourage all registered participants to be active participants. If you don't have time, we wouldn't want to saddle you with the responsibility of being a member on paper, but don't show up for the task. So let's reflect well. I'm told item 13 is massively assured. It's on its way. I think we did well with time. So I would hand over for the rest of the announcement to you, if there are any.
Okay, so I think we all deserve some applause. So let's put our hands together for ourselves. So yes, the hub is officially launched and it's here to stay. And I believe that you and I are ready to support it, to contribute to it, so that at the end of the day, Ghana will be the ultimate beneficiary. Thank you all so much. All too soon, we are drawing curtains on this amazing event. And I call on our dear sister Rosamond to thank us and to give some short closing remarks. A round of applause for Rosemond.
Okay, thank you so much. Before I move into the closing remark, I would want to say something small. So ASAP has a flagship event that is called the Future of Energy Conference. I'm sure when I miss anything, my boss is here. She'll fill in for me. So we have the Future of Energy Conference that is happening this month on 26th and 27th of August, and it's going to be held at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Yes. One benefit you get as being a member of the Resource Governance Hub is that some of you, not all of you, we are not there yet, some of you get the opportunity to participate. And it is fully funded. You don't have to pay anything. So yes, clap for ASAP. Clap for ASAP. Yes. Yes. I want us to encourage you to actually sign up. And also, not just the Future of Energy Conference, there are a lot of opportunities that you get exposed to as being a member of the Resource Governance Hub. You get opportunities to intern in the space. So yes, I want to see a lot of you signing up. And just like Mabel said, don't be passive members, but be members that are contributing, right? Okay, so on the closing remarks, all protocols observed. I want to thank everybody. Penelope is smiling. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thanks to Kojo for that insightful presentation. I want us to leave here gingered to do more. The phones that we have, let us not just use them for TikTok, but together we can actually get the Ghana that we all want. The wealth is not in the ground. The wealth, it is me and it is you. So as you are going to your homes, please let us all demand for accountability. The data is there. Read. And anything you see, even if it's a post, please react to it. Get interested, right? And anytime you hear that there are opportunities for you to add your voice to anything that is happening, don't hesitate. Because if you don't contribute, they'll decide for you, and you later come and complain. Thank you so much for being here, and then I'll be waiting outside to see you all sign up. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemond. Yes, and like I said all too soon, we are done for today's assignment, all important assignment. We are done, actually. So, would we do photo session? We would, right? But just before that, we would want to take a closing prayer. We do the photo session, and then we move out for the item 13. Those of us who understand item 13, we do. So, if you know, you know. Right, just before we take the closing prayer, please, there is post-evaluation form. Let's quickly scan it, and then fill it up. And whilst at it, anyone here filled with the Spirit to close us in prayer? Why is everybody mentioning Isaac? Okay. Oh, you can come. You are up already. So you are the Elisha of Isaac. A round of applause for him, please.
Let's be in a mood of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you today for such a wonderful time and gathering. We thank you for helping us launch the Resource Governance Hub, UCC campus. We commit it into your care that you will take care of its leadership to foster unity, collaboration, and growth for them. And for everyone that made it here, we hope that they have learned something and they have been impacted one way or the other to act for change and call for accountability from our leaders. As we continue to our various homes, campuses, hostels, and destinations, may you be with us and guide us. This and many more we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Let's clap for him once again. So, respectfully, our high table.